Hello, people. Welcome to Conversations with Ayo Fair, where we talk about wholeness, well being, and the wonders of womanhood. So, yesterday I stumbled upon a friend's status and he had posted something along the lines of someone who had received a phone call informing him that a friend of his had committed suicide. And this got me thinking, about the fact that a lot of times many of us are afraid to be vulnerable. Because in that video, the person did say that encourage men to speak up more, to talk more, because he did not know that that person had so many weights upon his shoulders to the point that he felt that committing suicide was the way out. And I've often wondered why people look upon vulnerability as a weakness rather than a strength. In our society, a lot of us, especially the men, want to appear very independent, very self-sufficient, very strong. And for this reason, we just have this wall. We put up this wall showing that everything is fine. We have everything under control. For me, I think it takes a very strong person. I think it takes a lot of bravery, boldness to be vulnerable. Sometimes we're even afraid to be vulnerable with our partners. I think to myself that someone that you merge with body, soul, and spirit, when you're intimate, you take off your clothes, everything. I can't think of any position where you're more vulnerable than when you are in that intimate position with your spouse, your partner, and then that same person, you're afraid to be vulnerable with them, you're afraid to talk to them, or you feel like they're going to see you as less or see you as inadequate just because you're being vulnerable. I think that, oftentimes, instead of looking at vulnerability as a weakness, we should look at it as a strength, because in many instances it makes us more self-aware. You're aware of your emotions, you're aware of your feelings, and you're able to channel those emotions properly rather than being all over the place. Because the truth of the matter is that when we bottle up things, they fester, they grow within us like a cancer, and you get to a breaking point where you can find yourself on the other side of the divide, meaning that there's a thin line between sanity and insanity. I think that when you're able to be vulnerable around people, it helps you develop your emotional intelligence. A lot of us are not emotionally intelligent. We don't even know how to express our emotions. I think about, the times that Kenny and I struggled in our marriage. I feel that one of the reasons we might have struggled is due to the fact that at the point where we had all those financial pressures and all that, instead of being vulnerable with me as his partner, he turned on me because he probably felt inadequate. He felt like, okay, he could no longer do those things that, provide for the family like he used to. And so he felt inadequate. So instead of turning to the person closest to him and asking that person, maybe, how can I support you? Since you are now, doing so and so, how can I make this burden lighter? How can I make this load lighter? Would it help if I maybe dropped you at work and pick you up? Would it help maybe if I give you a foot massage? Would it help if maybe I give you a massage generally, or send you to the spa every now and again with whatever coins I have? I just think that the things that we should look upon as being helpful to us are the things that a lot of times we do not use to our advantage. When you're vulnerable around your close circle, it helps you to build stronger relationships. It helps you to, have stronger connections, make stronger connections. You can imagine if as a man, you are able to open up to your partner, you're able to talk to them about the things that ail you, the things that bother you, concerns at work, concerns with your finances, then you can rub minds. They can bring their own ideas, they can bring some suggestions that would help. You can pray together. If you're a praying couple, you can If there is need to seek professional help, then you can seek that help together. You know, there's so many things, so many ways to look at these things rather than putting up walls. A lot of times when we, in a bid not to be vulnerable, some of us become monsters. We become unkind because we lash out at the people closest to us, blame them for things that they are not responsible for. And, you know, in that instance, we become unkind. We begin to say things to them that we really shouldn't. We say things to them that could break them, could near damage them, sometimes even. You know, you can imagine that as the leader of the home, or even a leader in the workplace, if you're the kind of person that you show vulnerability every now and again, you build a psychologically safe space for the people you work with because they feel like they can be themselves. If they see you as someone who always has it together at every point in time, no matter their challenges, no matter the struggles they have with work, no matter the difficulties, it's hard for them to come to you. It's hard for them to open up. It's hard for them to talk to you about these things because they see you as someone who has everything, you know, under control. When my son was much younger, I was very intentional about raising a child who didn't view vulnerability as a weakness. I was intentional about raising a son with a sensitive side, with a soft side. So for me, things like, oh, man up, boys don't cry, were never a thing for me. I made him understand that, look, if there are things bothering you, open up, talk to me. I'm always here. You know, you can always share your deepest fears with me. And my children know that, you know, even if I don't have any answers, I will tell them what I can, encourage them as best I can, support them, and pray with them. And if that's all you can do, it lifts the burden. When you have things bothering you and you bottle them up inside, it messes up your mental health. There's nothing that can easily truncate your well-being or mess up your well-being like bottling things up inside, things that are bothering you. You're keeping everything inside. You're not talking to anybody. There must be somebody you can talk to. If you don't have a close circle, that's a shame. You really, everyone should have a close circle. There must be someone you can be vulnerable with or vulnerable around, even if that person is not your spouse. Unfortunately, because as the way I see it, the person you should be most vulnerable with is your spouse or your partner. But if you find yourself or you have found yourself in a relationship where your partner or your spouse is not someone you can talk to, or they view vulnerability as a weakness, then there must be someone, a friend, a sibling, someone within your close circle. And if all else fails, get professional help. Talk to somebody. Because at the end of the day, there's a very thin line between sanity and insanity. Depression is real, and many of us have been in situations where we have, you know, gone into a dark, dingy place that we felt like the world was crashing around us. And the only way to get better, to get out of those situations, was to talk about those things. If we don't make a habit of talking about the things that bother us, if we don't let out steam, is it let out or let off steam? One or the other. You know, every now and again, it could kill us. It could legit kill us. So a few years ago, my son came to me and told me that he liked a girl. I think he was 16 at the time. And because obviously the only reason he could come to me was because as he, you know, growing up, I had encouraged him to always talk to me and, you know, about anything, you know, his deepest fears, whatever concerns that he had. So, of course, he came and spoke to me about it. My normal me would have just wanted to smack his head and tell him, what's your business liking girls at this age? But obviously, if people are vulnerable around you, you have to be able to, you know, support them as best you can, rather than tease them or, you know, make them feel like what they're saying does not make any sense. So, yeah, so I supported him. I encouraged him and I told him, "Now, don't worry. The time will come. You'll meet your own, the right girl and all that." I remember that when he turned 18 or so, on one Valentine's Day, he went out with a friend of his, and it even clicked to me that he had anything to do with anything, because I'd even, in my head, I wasn't even thinking Valentine's Day anyway. But a few days later, I just clicked that, this boy went out with a girl on Valentine's Day. So I just teased him that this girl that he went out with on Valentine's Day was the Coco. you know. And then he said, yeah, he liked the girl, and he had told the girl that he liked her, and the girl told him she didn't feel the same way and all that. And of course, the mother in me, because he was vulnerable around me, he opened up to me about something that was, you know, bothering him. Yeah, so I was able to still encourage him. I gave him a hug, and I still said the same thing to him. Don't worry, when the time is right, when you're old enough to be with someone, you'll meet someone who would appreciate you, who would appreciate, the gem that you are and all that. So there must always be someone that you can talk to. At that age, at 16, 17, 18, rejection is taken very seriously. In fact, I think rejection is taken seriously at any age. But when you're younger, it really hits you. So you could have bottled it up inside, just, be moody or just be cranky and maybe be snapping at his sister. They're not burning well to snap at me, but, snap at his sister and all that. But instead, he was able to speak up and he moved past it very quickly because he was able to get it out of his system. So the point is, let's talk more, especially our men. We want you strong, yes. We want you, to have things together. But in those moments when you feel like you don't have things together, it's okay. It's okay to break down and cry once in a while. It's okay to talk to someone about your fears. It's okay to feel inadequate and open up and talk about it, that you don't feel like you're meeting up. It's okay. Even as a woman, if you feel like you're not meeting up, it's okay. Um, your partner has certain expectations of you and you're not meeting up with those expectations. It's okay to be vulnerable. It is not a weakness. It is a strength. Sis, you're a strong woman if you're able to express those emotions, those feelings of inadequacy, and talk about those things and then get help. Some of us are in, difficult marriages, and then we keep it all inside. You're not talking to anybody. I'm not saying share your story or tell everybody about your home, but there must be somebody you can talk to, someone you respect, maybe an elder in the church that you respect, an older couple in the church that you respect, or an older sibling, or a friend that you can trust, someone you know has your back that you can talk to. Don't keep it inside. Don't. Even as a man, you're in a difficult marriage, or you're having challenges at work, or the finances, the numbers are not adding up. Talk to someone. Talk to someone. Being vulnerable improves your mental health. That's the truth. Because a lot of times, as soon as you start to talk about it, as soon as you start to let it out, you just feel lighter. It's like a load. A burden is lifted off you. One of the things men tease us about is the fact that when we get together as women, when we hang out, we talk about everything and anything, even the things that happen in the other in the other room. Women will talk about it, and these things help us. It's very therapeutic. Therapeutic. When we open up, we have a laugh. We encourage one another, we support one another, and we share stories, share experiences, and all that. These things help. Don't keep it inside. I know that men hang out, but I don't really know that men, talk about those kind of things when they hang out. Do they? Do you, men, do you talk about these things when you hang out? I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Let me know the man's point of view on this matter, because I'm not sure. But I know that for us as women, we do. We do. We really do talk about these things. And most women are not afraid to be vulnerable, to be honest. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. You need to begin to talk more about these things. It's not something to be ashamed of. Instead of allowing these emotions to come out, the ego comes out. The ego doesn't have anything good to offer anyone, because what the ego wants to do is show everyone that, look, I'm the man, or I'm the woman, I'm the one in charge, I have it all together, And honestly, who are we fooling? Who are we really fooling? Marriages are falling apart because people couldn't be vulnerable. A wife is dying because her husband is walking away, but she's too proud to beg. A husband is dying because his wife is walking away, or there's so much tension in the marriage and no one wants to be vulnerable. Everyone wants to look like they have it together, and the marriage keeps falling apart. And one day it's over. They grow apart so much that they just have to, go their separate ways. Vulnerability is not a weakness, my lovelies. It is a strength, and we need to begin to view it as such. Vulnerability can be a sign of courage, you know. If you're not a courageous person, it's not easy to open up your deepest concerns to someone. It's not. And that is not me saying, you're sharing your story with everybody, but there are people that you can talk to. And like I said, worst case scenario, get professional help. Talk therapy, the best. Where I come from, sometimes they even tell you that if you feel like there's nobody you can talk to, dig a hole and start to talk, talk to the hole. So that you're still letting it out. Something is coming out and is going somewhere. When you finish, bury it there. I don't know if that works. I've never done that before. I would rather talk to a live person. But if you're the kind of person that who feels like, they can't talk to anybody, then please dig a hole and talk to the hole. Talk to God. And, at the end of the day, there's even no one that can, take care of your troubles like he can. Talk to God. Say it as it is. Let it out. But you must let it out. And that's the only way you feel better. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments. Share your thoughts concerning this matter. What do you think? Is vulnerability a strength? Do you see it as a weakness? Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys soon. It's bye for now.